Hey guys, and welcome to the first episode of Rankum. Hey, and welcome to Rankum. This is going to be a fun one today. It's the 150th episode, so we've got a new logo from now on, a special opening. And we've got a great panel here. Over to here, we've got Jonathan. Jonathan, how's it going?
I'm doing great, man. It's great to be back here on this episode, this 150th episode. Congratulations on that milestone. Let's talk about Oscars, Best Picture winning films, the best of the best, or some of the best of the best. Let's have some fun today.
Moving along, got Matt. Matt, how's it going?
I'm doing well. It's good to be here for the 150th episode. Since I missed out on the first episode, 100th episode, I felt like I had to be here for at least one of these things I had to put in. But yeah, congrats, Malcolm. As a guy who's only 2 shows to reach longevity of 10 episodes, you've certainly surpassed me in this endeavor. But I'm still your boss, so don't forget it.
Sorry.
It's all good. And moving along, got Joseph. Joseph, how's it going?
Doing pretty well. I had forgotten this was the 150th episode, so that's exciting. Nice. I guess I picked a great episode to be on to talk about Best Picture Oscar winners. I'm looking forward to it.
And last but not least, we've got Richie. Richie, how's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. I was using new internet. It hasn't gone well so far, but we'll see what happens. Looking forward to talking about Best Picture.
Yep. But with that, this is a Redux, so I do have a graphic showing what was the top 12 that we did on the first edition of the Best Picture winners. So as you can see, we had Schindler's List, Godfather, Lawrence of Arabia, Lord of the Rings, Tree of the King, Silence of the Lambs, Spotlight, On the Waterfront, Gladiator, Casablanca, The Bridge Over the River Kwai, Sound of Music, and No Country for Old Men was the 12 that we had on the last edition. Whether or not it changes, who knows?
It'd be funny if it didn't. It was just the exact same 12. Making this video pointless.
But with that being said, it is a different panel too, so who knows what can happen. So, but with that, we're going to go to Jonathan. Jonathan, what is your first nomination?
Okay, so my first nomination is an easy one. I think you can see a movie right behind me. I'm nominating The Godfather. One of the best movies of all time, one of the highly regarded movies of all time, crime or general. It is personally my favorite movie ever. 3 hours, I think it goes by real quickly. You could feel the scope of Francis Ford Coppola's filmmaking almost at its highest. You can debate whether this one or another movie that we'll probably bring up, or one of the others will bring up. And also Mario Puzo's vision from the novel. Also, I think it's a perfect cast. Pacino, it's Michael Corleone, Marlon Brando's Vito, and then James Caan, Robert Duvall, Talia Shire, etc. This is a great movie, and it should go on the list.
But before I go on, I realised that after I just couldn't be bothered changing it.
I'm just saying. People have missed trivia points because of that difference.
No, that is fair. But Matt, what do you say about The Godfather?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, The Godfather is one of the greats for a reason. It's a great movie. It's a really interesting film to kind of see Michael, who Vito attempts to keep out of the family business for so much of the film, to just see Michael slowly just dip into the darkness. I mean, one of the greatest sequences I think in film is the baptism that is intercut with the murdering of the five families. And obviously, the most famous moment is when the priest asks Michael if he renounces the devil, and you just get the shot of all the guys being killed, and he's like, I do renounce the devil. It's wonderful. Sonny is my favorite character out of the whole Godfather series, so obviously I have a bit more of a love for Godfather 1 because of that. This isn't why you don't shoot someone from 5 miles away. You walk right up to them and bam, get blood over your nice Ivy League suit. It's a wonderful film. It gets a yes from me.
Joseph, what do you say about The Godfather?
So I'm of two minds for this particular episode. Because this is a redux, I took a look at and listened at the other episode, and a lot of them were very well deserving of being on the list, and I agree that The Godfather is one of them. For me personally, because this is a redux, I wanted to try to get some variety on the list, and this is not the movie that I was hoping would get mentioned just because it was on the last list, and deservingly so, don't get me wrong. But there's one other movie that I feel could represent The Godfather while not necessarily excluding the two movies, because, again, they are deserving of the Best Picture winner. I'm going to say no for this one. I have a specific reason why. Just because of this redux. But under normal circumstances, I would. But I have a specific reason why. And I'm sorry, but I'll get to that.
But Richie, what do you say about The Godfather?
Yeah, I mean, I totally see where Joseph is coming from, but I just can't, in good conscience, keep this off the list. So I'm actually just going to say yes.
Yeah, yeah, it makes the list regardless. Yeah, I was going to say yes anyway because it is in my personal top 12. But yeah, so if The Godfather makes the list, and we go on to Matt, what is your first nomination?
Well, for the record, I'm not writing your name down. I'm writing The Godfather. I'm not just gonna go out and do anything like that. All right.
So my first nomination, Malcolm, take a wild guess on what you think my first nomination will be, because it's a little film, and I do mean back in when it came out, it was a little film that was forced to be made in only 28 days with an unknown actor who wrote and starred his way onto superstardom. I'm of course talking about 1976's Hey Yo Adrian, Rocky. Rocky, I've said it on Take 3 multiple times. I stand by it. It is one of, to me, the all-time great movies, because it's a movie that everyone I think can connect to, because even if you never played sports in your life, we're all underdogs, and we can all relate to Rocky, who the journey of the film is not about winning a belt. It's not about winning a championship. It's about being respected for who you are. And that's perfectly stated the night before the fight when he's talking to Adrian, and he says he just wants to go the distance. He, at the end of the 15 rounds, he just wants to be standing up, and that's, I think, what we all want. Yeah, so Rocky is my first nomination.
Joseph, what do you say about Rocky?
I do like the movie. It grows on me since I saw it as a kid and then growing up as an adult. I think the underdog story is very powerful. The ending is also very powerful and hard hitting the more I see it. My only thing is that there were two other movies that year that I felt might have been more deserving of the Best Picture Oscar that year. Personally, Network or All the President's Men would have been. You can argue 3, but there are specifically for me too. But yeah, those two for me would have been more deserving for Best Picture. There's like a couple bunch of movies that like revolve and kind of interchange for me in the like mid to higher tier section of Best Picture winners that I've seen, and Rocky is fits in that area of movies for me. And just because there are other movies that I feel like just because there are other movies I feel like deserved it more than Rocky, while I do think it's a really good movie, I'm gonna say no. Sorry.
Richie, what do you say about Rocky?
Yeah, I mean, I do agree that I personally think Network should have won that year, but that's not taken away from Rocky itself. I think it's a pinnacle, sports movie. It's a crowning achievement in filmmaking, and how this how it got made is very very compelling, and it's a movie I love. So I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah. So when we first did this list, I was probably one of the people that was the reasons it didn't make it noms. I'd never seen it at that point. I've
Yeah, you
since seen
hadn't
it
seen it
now. But yeah, I'm going to say no though, because
You're
while
fucking
it is a good movie, it's one of those ones like I've got a specific set of ones that I know that are ones I'm absolutely going to say yes to, and not enough of those have gone yet. So it is on Jonathan. You're the deciding vote.
Okay, first of all, every episode it comes to me. This is funny. Okay. I have seen Rocky. It was a strong year for Best Picture films in '76 for sure. President's Men, Network, Taxi Driver, Rocky. I think there was another. I forgot the other one. My
Bound for
apologies.
Glory.
Bound for Glory. Thank you. I did rank them privately on my Letterboxd to prepare for this episode. It was not easy, but even though I love the movie, it did rank a little lower to mid-tier status. But it goes to show you how many Best Picture winners are great, because I think Rocky's a great movie, but I thought it's like comparing it's like by inches, like inches. It's like the tightest race ever. So, man, I know one of my favorite people on the planet, Corey, loves this franchise. I'm so sorry, Corey. I gotta go no.
Whatever.
I'm sorry.
I should have prepared myself, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Even on the Redux. Fuck this.
I
Even the second time.
Look,
I made you
Rocky's a
watch
great
this movie by the
Rocky's a
second
great
time.
movie.
You don't have to explain yourself, Jonathan. I get it. None of you are dead to me except for Malcolm. Richie is the most not dead to me, but Malcolm.
Oh.
150, you ain't making to 151.
Wait.
Hashtag cancel Malcolm.
Oh, come on.
With that being said,
Just wait for your first down, Malcolm.
Joseph, what is your next nomination?
Okay, so I was hoping this would be brought up before our first movie was brought up, just because I feel like this movie, because it did not make the last list, deserves to be brought up in order to represent the series. But who says we can't have both Godfathers on this list? The Godfather Part 2 is my first nomination. This movie is this movie creeps up on you as you watch it. We see a stark contrast of Michael Corleone's character arc and the beginning of the first Godfather to the end of that first movie. And then in the second movie, we see him fully, if the first movie was Michael Corleone entering the dark side, in a metaphorical term, dark side, this movie sees him fully embracing and putting a tighter embrace around his dark side, and it's disturbing as hell seeing him do all these terrible things, but also it's even worse to see it compared to how Vito Corleone's character arc first was created when he got to America and rose to power. And Robert De Niro is also really, really good in that performance as young Vito. Michael Corleone is Al Pacino as Michael Corleone is fantastic in this movie. I think he also steps up his game a little bit from the first movie with specific scenes in the movie. And yeah, it's a fantastic movie that definitely should be brought up on the list if it wasn't on the first list.
Richie, what did you say about The Godfather Part 2?
Yeah, like usually like sort of a list you want if it's a series of movies you just have like one movie to represent the the series, but like Godfather 1 and 2 are two of the best films of all time, so you can't really ignore that. So yeah, I'd say yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely no reason we can't have both. So it's yes. Jonathan, what would you have said about The Godfather Part 2?
Of course. I mean, it's a great movie on its own. I adore the movie. I think this is one of the rare sequels, in my humble opinion, that are equal to the first movie. I could easily watch these two over and over again because of the interesting arc of Michael Corleone, regardless of how scummy he is at the end of the film. I mean, you would hate him. You will hate him at the end of part 2. But actually, more of these scumbag characters are interesting, ironically. So, unfortunately, even though part 3, we were excited about part 3 being filmed, we got part 3. But in my opinion, it's good. It's just in comparison, it's nowhere near the greatness of the first 2 movies. But I digress. The part 2, yeah, it should go on the list, 100%.
Part 3 is still the only one I've not seen yet. Matt,
If you keep your
what do you say about
expectations- I would say if you keep your expectations in check, you would appreciate aspects of it. It just doesn't hold up to the first 2. It does have some memorable scenes in it.
but Matt, what would you have said about Godfather Part 2?
Honestly, I'm a little undecided. I still am. Obviously, I'm not going to debate it being on the list. I don't know if it came up on the last episode. I can't remember.
It did not. I went back and checked.
Yeah, well, probably because once we put Godfather on, I think we normally try to, but I don't think I'd be very shocked if anyone watching debated having both of these films on here. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think the AFI has these both in their top 100. So, if the AFI can do it, why can't rank them? Yeah. AFI also has Rocky in the top 100, but we don't need to talk about that.
AFI also picked Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid as 2 of their top 10 heroes, even though they're outlaws.
Yeah, so why not both?
Hey, who said outlaws can't be heroes? Come on, we all saw Rango.
But I think we're going to move on to Richie. Richie, what is your first nomination?
All right, I'm gonna pick a movie that I feel like got overshadowed during the Oscars, even though it won, because I feel like the kind of the hoopla and all the controversy kind of overshadowed, like it kind of diminished the accomplishment of what a good movie it is. I'm gonna go Moonlight. I think it was amazing, and I feel like even though it's amazing, people talk about it because they all when they think of Moonlight, all they think about is that La La Land fiasco at the Oscars. Yeah, it's an amazing movie. Breakout performance by Mahershala Ali, just great performances all around, and it's very powerful and poignant movie, especially for the time it came out. So yeah, Moonlight.
Yeah, so Moonlight is, I think, is a good movie. But it's one of those ones that, I mean, and I'm not going to lie, for my first nomination, I was going to jokingly nominate La La Land because it ran for 2 minutes. So, but yeah, I mean, I think Moonlight's good. It's going to be a no for me, though. It's just one that didn't really resonate with me that much. Jonathan, what do you say about Moonlight?
Moonlight. Okay, Moonlight's a great movie, but again, when I go back to my comparison as like the tightest race ever, it's like the tightest race ever in terms of excellence, and it is unfair to compare excellence because I just acknowledge them for what it is individually. So, but look, we're making a list. So, Moonlight, it's not one of rewatchability for me, even though it's an excellent film. But and I did rank that movie a little high. But it was like number 16. So I'm gonna say no.
Matt, what do you say about Moonlight?
I unfortunately have to abstain from this one because I've not seen Moonlighting. No,
And-
Moonlighting is the show with Bruce Willis and Sylvia Pepper. I've seen that. Not seen Moonlight.
Joseph, what would you have said about Moonlight?
So I do appreciate aspects about Moonlight, but it's also a movie that I respect more than I love. Like I do think it's a good movie overall, but it falls into the category of Rocky that I just felt more compelled by other nominees from that year. Personally, not La La Land actually, but Arrival
Right.
or Hell or High Water would have been
Yeah.
my two contenders for Best Picture for that year that I personally like a lot more from that year. I do. I also would have said no, but again, it is not a bad movie. Like I can see
No.
why people loved it, but yeah, I do gravitate towards other movies.
Um, but so but with that, it's on to me for my first nomination, and I'm gonna go for one that I know I tried to get on last time, but no one had seen it. Maybe it's going to repeat that same thing again. I don't know. I'm going to go for A Man for All Seasons. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. Like I was actually in the stage play of this as well. So it's one of those ones that's got a personal hold in my heart. But it's about Sir Thomas More's sort of last days and him talking about with Henry VIII and all that, and it's a really fun movie. You've got like a great cast like Paul Schofield, Orson Welles, Robert Shaw in this, and it's a fun movie, and it's a really good period piece. But Jonathan, what do you say about Man for All Seasons?
Well, I have seen it. I have seen it for my high school English class, as I recall. I did like it, but unfortunately, I don't remember much about it. Yeah, it's fine. It's not one of my favorite Best Picture winners, so I'm gonna say no.
Matt, what do you say about Man for All Seasons?
Orson Welles, he was in Citizen Kane, which was not a Best Picture winner, but nominated. Robert Shaw, he was in Jaws, which I believe was nominated for Best Picture, but was not a winner. But I have not seen A Man for All Seasons.
Joseph, what do you say about Man? What do you say about Man for All Seasons?
I have seen A Man for All Seasons. It was also in high school when I saw it. I've only seen it once, but despite the one time I watched it, I do remember being very riveted by the proceedings in that movie. The dialogues were also very. I think the dialogues were very well written and the acting was well done in that movie. This is a little. This movie is like in the again in that middle to high tier section for Best Picture winners for me. I haven't seen anything else from that year, so I can't compare it to other movies. But there's also, for me personally, because this is a Redux, I want to also bring up movies that I'm okay with putting movies that were on the other list. Like if there were like 3 or 4 movies, I would be okay with that. I think that from the other movies that I do want to bring, besides the movies from the last list, I think this is a good movie to mention and bring up on the list for a Redux episode. So I'm gonna go yes, actually.
Richie, what do you say about A Man for All Seasons?
I say I haven't seen it, so I have to abstain.
So
Sadly, with the new rule that I have in place that I didn't have last time, it's making the list because both me and Joseph said yes. Out of the people who have seen it, both me and Joseph said yes.
You created the rules just for your favor there, Malcolm. Because if that was the case, if you still hadn't seen Rocky, there's a possibility it could have gone on because it would have been 2-2.
Hey,
It's gotta-
it's how
I'm
I
not
mean,
going to watch this movie now out of spite for you.
I mean, to be fair,
I
it's helped
will
Richie out before when he
ignore it
got
for
Peppermint
all
on
my
the list
life.
once before.
I got Peppermint on the list. I don't know how that
That's
happened.
great.
But yeah.
Hey, you know
Wow.
what, Malcolm? I got Daredevil to number 3 with the old rules. All right. So,
You might
Um,
maybe if you mentioned it before the episode started, that I don't know.
it's
Wow.
all right. But Jonathan, we go back to you for your next nomination.
That got rid of my number 12. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go with no, I'll save that one. Let's go with Parasite.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah, I'm gonna nominate Parasite. This should be on the list. I think this is a milestone for the Academy as it won. This was the first foreign film to win Best Picture, and deservingly so, in my humble opinion. I thought this was one of the few movies that I deem it's perfect. It flies by for me. 2 hours. Director Bong Joon-ho just creates such a masterclass of acting performances and production value into the story, in which there's more things to look at than you can possibly imagine, and more surprises. Yeah, because there are a couple of things that I did not see coming, and it just represents what it represents the status of class in terms of middle class, high class, upper class, and lower class, and you could see it visually in one shot beautifully. Yeah, if we're gonna talk about like the most recent films that should be on the list, I think Parasite deservingly should go on the list. It deserves to go on the list.
But Matt, what do you say about Parasite?
Malcolm, I've been on Gone with the Wind, haven't I? What do we always say on that show? Matt doesn't actually watch movies. I got this thing about me to where unless it is starring Sylvester Stallone or Kurt Russell, directed by Ben Affleck, or the animated darling that should have won Best Picture, Boss Baby, which Cinema's about to peak with the sequel. I have not seen Parasite because I'm just not up with new films. But that movie, Boss Baby, Malcolm, let me tell you why it should have won Best Picture back in 2016.
Anyway, Joseph, what do you? Anyway, Joseph, what do you say about Parasite?
Yeah, of the movies that won Best Picture of the past few years, this is definitely one of the better ones that won. It was not my favorite one actually from that year, but of the nominees, it was definitely in the best of the third of the best of the 9 nominees. It was in the top third for me. I would have been okay with also Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or Little Women winning that year for me personally, because I also love those 2 movies. But yes, I'm gonna say yes for this one because it definitely. I do think that we can use some of the recent Best Picture winners. This is a good representative of that best pick of the Oscars for that year, and it also has a very great script that handles those turns and twists really, really well.
Yeah.
Richie, what do you say about Parasite?
Yeah, this was on the list. If I made a top 100 favorite movies of all time, this would be on that list too. Yeah, this movie is amazing. Forms, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's great. Absolutely.
Parasite does make this list. Unfortunately, I actually would have leaned towards no. I mean, those that know me know that when it comes to foreign movies, that's really hard for them to resonate with me because I'm not a big fan of subtitled movies at all. I'll give them a go if they've got enough acclaim and that, but this is like there's some like Crouching Like a Hidden Dragon I can get into and enjoy because I just get lost in the visuals and that's all I needed. But with this one, this is one I felt would have been better if I could understand it without having to go to this, look down at the subtitles and have to look back up quickly just to find out what's actually going on. And it just took me out of the movie a little bit, but I appreciate it's a good movie. I don't want to seem like I'm hating on it just for hate's sake, but yeah. But with that,
The baby
Matt-
says, "Put that cookie down. These are
Matt,
for closers."
it-
What?
it's your turn to nominate a movie.
Oh, okay. Can I tell you about the movie that should have won in 2017, which is Boss Baby? No. No. My next nomination is getting tough because I'm between two. Okay, I'll go with the one that I have higher up on the list. Okay, so unless I'm mistaken, in recent years, I think there's only 3 movies to do the big like win 12, and this is one of them. I'm going with Ben-Hur. Ben-Hur, I figure, is one of the greatest examples of just epic filmmaking. When it comes to this and Ten Commandments, I'm more of a Ben-Hur fan. I love the story of the film. I love the visuals. I love the music, the story, everything. Like I said, it deserved to win Best Picture, and I think even in 2021, you could put this movie on and people would still be like, wow, that is like an epic movie. Like if you look up in the like dictionary of filmography and it's like epic, it says see example, Ben-Hur. So Ben-Hur with Charlton Heston. It's my nomination.
Joseph, what do you say about Ben-Hur?
Sorry, real quickly, you said the top 12? It won the. I'm sorry,
No,
you said
it
it was
like won 12 Oscars, if I'm not mistaken.
11
Like,
Oscars.
11,
11
that was it. That was it.
There's 3 movies that won 11 Oscars.
Yeah, and that's what I meant. But it should win our top 12 list.
I just wanted to clarify that. But yes, I think this is a really great movie. That, like Matt was saying about it, in terms of the visual production of it all and the huge scope of it all as well, is such an incredible experience to watch. And it even gets better when you see the crappy remake from 2016, which terribly butchers up the ending, which is very, very powerful in this original one. But Hollywood and remakes and money, etc. But anyway, but yes, back to Ben-Hur. This is a really great movie. One of the better ones from one of my favorite like big epic scope Best Picture winners. So I'm gonna say yes.
Richie, what do you say about Ben-Hur?
Well, yeah, just quickly, the only thing I remember about the remake is it wasn't Morgan Freeman in Dreads. I remember that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something. But yeah, I love Ben on the list, so yes.
Ben-Hur does make the list. I've not seen this since classics in school. Sadly, I've seen the remake more times than I've seen this.
You've seen it more than once?
Yikes.
I mean, look, those that know me know that I like bad movies sometimes. I don't hate the remake. I appreciate for what it was doing. It's just that the remake comes on streaming more often than the original, so that's what it comes down to. Jonathan, what would you have said about Ben-Hur?
You know what? I don't know why I ranked it a little low. I love Ben-Hur, so yeah, I would have actually ranked it wherever I would rank it. Yeah, I would say yes, because this is one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite epics. It's definitely a favorite in my family. In addition to me watching it on at school, I watched this movie almost every Easter, alternating between this movie and the Ten Commandments, both starring Charlton Heston. Yeah, it's a fantastic movie with a magnificent chariot sequence. How many movies do we get, chariot sequences? So, yeah, a great.
Boss Baby 2 is going to have one.
No.
But
But that's a great choice. Great choice.
But with that being said, Joseph, what is your next nomination?
Godfather 3.
Well,
No, that didn't. It was
I
nominated.
gotta look at the
but,
Best Picture winners. Nope, that didn't win. Sorry.
yeah.
So my next nomination. This movie is a movie that gets better for me every time I watch it. The first time I saw it, I was like, I appreciate this movie, but I rewatched it again because I kept hearing like this movie is is one of the best westerns out there, and I've seen it 3 times now, and it's gotten better and better for me. It's climbed up steadily on my top 100 favorite movies of all time. It is the Clint Eastwood movie Unforgiven. This movie gives me chills every time. Well, not every time because the first one was when I appreciated it more than I liked it. But since then, the movie keeps giving me chills about how it portrays violence and how it affects people in trying to show how damaging it is instead of glamorizing violence like the old west type of movies from the earlier decades. Older Hollywood movies used to do a lot. Clint Eastwood just straight out showed violence and its ugliness and how it is disastrous sometimes. And it also helps that he makes the characters very fleshed out. Like William Money's a very despicable character as you see him progress in the movie, but also Lil Bill Daggett, and also you see how some characters suffer from that, and that just makes the violence more impactful for the movie. The last 30 minutes of the movie are intense and also tense for how the story plays out, and it is chilling. It gets better for me every time I see it. So that's my pick, Unforgiven.
Richie, what do you say about Unforgiven?
Unfortunately, Unforgiven's a blind spot for me. I haven't seen it, so I have to abstain.
Ooh.
I hadn't seen this until last year, thanks to Kirk suggesting that I watch it. And yes, I know it was brought up on the last one.
I was gonna say it was just Kirk. It wasn't the fact that I brought this up last time that made you want to do it.
Well, no.
Oh,
but,
okay. Well, all right. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
but that being said, it's a yes for me. It's in my personal top 12. So yeah. Jonathan, what do you say about Unforgiven?
It's my second favorite Western of all time. So it's 100% yes. This movie deserved to win Best Picture in my birth year, actually. It came out on my birth year. So, yeah, what a great movie by Clint Eastwood. Definitely one of Clint Eastwood's best films. Hackman also deserved the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. He's menacing. Like, I really loved his arc because you see him as like the kind of a respectable hero in some sort of way in the beginning. Like he's a sheriff who's on, responsible for the town, but he's just ruthless at the end for what happened in the last 30 minutes of the movie. And that climax, oh man, it's just fantastic. Excellent movie. Yes.
And Matt, what would you have said about Unforgiven?
Obviously, since I brought it up last time, I would have said no. No, Unforgiven. It's one of my favorite westerns. Certainly, I think and it's funny. Scott Eastwood was actually on a recent episode. Joe Rogan was talking about his dad making this movie and how like only Clint Eastwood could have made this film as good as it was, since he was the man with no name. He was a part of those great westerns, and it's such a sombering look at what, if you know anything about what the real West was like, it was more like Unforgiven than Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Gene Hackman is one of the great screen villains. Morgan Freeman is fantastic in the movie, and just, I mean, that scene in the saloon when Clint Eastwood just walks in and just, he's so good. I love this, so this would have gotten a big yes for me. I'm happy I didn't have to bring this one up again on my own. I'm glad Joseph brought it up.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Kirk could have unforgiven us if we just didn't make the list.
Malcolm, I'm really
It
happy.
would be William Money.
I'm happy Kirk convinced you to see it, and I'm happy to hear that you love it got on your. Do you mean your top 12 for bit or just all time?
Well, my top 12 best picture winners.
Okay, all right. I was because I'm whoa, your top 12 of all time. That's awesome. Okay, top
Yeah,
12.
I honestly, I didn't. I forgot this was one you brought up last time because it was only last year I decided to start doing the watch a movie I've never seen every day of the year, and I asked for
Malcolm.
suggestions. This was the one that Kirk said, but yeah.
It's also just because, aside from the Rocky series, you tend to abstain from my suggestion for obvious reasons. Because I just recommend
But with that being said, Richie was your next nomination.
All right, I feel like the next pick I'm going to pick has been talked about a lot in this community, so I won't go into full detail. But it is my favorite Coen Brothers movies, and that's No Country for Old Men. Yeah, right, it's amazing. Rewatchability for me. It's Javier Bardem's Chile. I think it's a deserving place on this list.
Yeah, I mean, I love No Country for Old Men. I think it's a good movie. I'm sadly going to say no to it. And it's just one that it's just outside of the 12 and that I've got on my personal one, and just it's not one I've watched a lot more Best Picture winners since the last time I did this list, and it just has been pushed down because of that. Jonathan, what do you say about No Country for Old Men?
This is one of the best Coen Brothers movies. It's basically it's up in the air with my favorite one, with Fargo. This is a yes for me. I rewatched this movie. Yeah, in terms of Best Picture winners, recently the winners that won Best Picture, rewatchability goes down except for Parasite, but one of the few ones that I do rewatch a lot is No Country for Old Men. This is an awesome movie with one of the best villains of all time, Anton Chigurh, fantastically portrayed by Javier Bardem, who won the Oscar that year. So yeah, he's a badass in that movie. Don't forget about Tommy Lee Jones and Josh Brolin in that film. Yeah, this is I think one of the Coens' few masterpieces. So this is a yes for me.
Matt, what do you say about No Country for Old Men?
I unfortunately have to abstain from this, and I say really unfortunately because I meant to watch this movie a couple weeks ago, but it was taken out of my local library, so I was unable to, unfortunately. This is on my list. A lot of people recommended this, especially since a lot of people know I'm a big Tommy Lee Jones fan. They recommended this to me, so unfortunately, I'm really sorry. I hate to be this guy on Rankum.
And Joseph, what do you say about No Country? What do you say about No Country for Old Men?
I was gonna say, does my vote matter now? Because
it still matters.
Well, yeah, my vote doesn't count. My vote's no because I haven't seen it. Yeah.
So I mentioned that Unforgiven was a movie that I didn't love the first time I saw it, but it grew on me on more viewings. That's where I'm at with No Country at the moment right now. Like, I saw it a while ago. Like, I think I might like it more if I rewatched it, but I've always been so put off by the ending, and thinking about it more and more and hearing people try to explain it more over the years, it's getting me like a little more understanding of why that ending happens. But it's a movie that I hate to say no, but I'm gonna say no just because the movie got me in a like. I do want to rewatch the movie, but for right now, I don't love it enough to say yes to it. So I'm gonna say no. There Will Be Blood. There Will Be Blood would have been my vote for that move for Best Picture that year, though, which I do love a lot.
I would have loved to give it a tie, to be honest, for Old Men and There Will Be Blood.
But yeah, I haven't rewatched it since then. Sorry.
That'd be a
Yeah.
good tell for a movie of old men. There will
Oh,
be
that
blood.
you broke
Someone
my heart.
write it. Someone write
Broke my
it.
heart here from that one.
Yeah.
Sadly,
Ah.
it doesn't make the list.
Yeah.
But talking about movies, I'm that people like to rewatch. This is one that people are surprised I love as much as I do. But I'm going for Titanic. This is one that I watch a lot, and I know that people feel about this movie, but this is such a great story. Well, I mean, like it's basically a love story on a Titanic, which everyone knows was going to sink at the end. So
Spoiler alert,
also,
Malcolm.
I mean, if you're not aware of the Titanic, that people have heard about since for 100 years almost, maybe longer, actually longer than that.
Longer than that, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
it's been longer than that.
But anyway, look, I love all the acting in this, like Kathy Bates, Victor Garber, Bernard Lee, Leo, Kate Winslet, all phenomenal in this. The cinematography I love in this. This is one that I think deserved best picture that year. I know some people don't; they would have preferred other things, but I stand by that. I think this deserved to have won, and I love it. So Titanic is on the board. Jonathan, what do you say about Titanic?
Okay, I really like Titanic. Actually, it is a technical achievement, even though some of the acting is, a little bit dated at times, a little cheesy at times. I prefer like L.A. Confidential and Good Will Hunting over the Titanic. That was a strong year, that year, '97. When I ranked Titanic, I was surprised how low it gotten. Even though I really like it. It was like 20, 21. But so I'm going to say no. But it's a really good movie. So yeah, it holds up in terms of special effects and technical magic. It is technical magic because I could believe what is going on during the sinking of the Titanic.
Matt, what do you say about the Titanic?
The Titanic, the event, it's a tragedy and it's unfortunate. The movie, however, I think visually it is very, very good, and James Cameron continues to show as a filmmaker. He always wants to push technology. Story-wise, I could care less about this movie. It's throughout the history of film and even just storytelling, how many rich girl or rich guy hooks up with the poor person stories have we seen so many times, and particularly in the Titanic, where there are really interesting real life people you could have told a story about. Cameron instead decided to make up two people. I this is my sister's favorite movie of all time, so I have seen this movie so many times to a point to where now it's just it's a fine movie, but I don't really like it that much. I love Bill Paxton in it, though, and I'm really upset that they didn't go with the alternate ending, because my favorite line delivery of his, just for his line delivery, is okay, now I don't know what to say to a woman who tries to jump off that Titanic when it's not sinking and jumps back on when it is sinking, just because it's Bill Paxton. And in this house, we love Bill Paxton. By the way, Twister should be nominated for Best Picture, because I just always have Twister movie right next to me. So I love Bill Paxton in the movie, but I'm gonna say no.
Joseph, what do you say about Titanic?
Yeah, this movie's in my 60s range when I rank the Best Picture winners that I have seen. I don't hate the movie, but I do hate that it won Best Picture for years that were released when I was born, especially when it beat LA Confidential and Good Will Hunting, both of which are in my top 30 favorite movies of all time. So, kind of a grudge, maybe a little undeserving, some would say, but yeah, I would have preferred those two other movies to win. Also, for this, in terms of the story for Titanic, I feel like, I don't know, it just gets a little, it's a little cheesy for my taste, and at many times in the movie that I don't think it deserves to be brought up on a list that has a lot of other far superior movies, in my opinion. So I'm gonna say no. Sorry.
And Richie, what would you have said about Titanic?
Yeah, like Titanic's a good movie. I feel like with a lot of James Cameron stuff, just for me personally, sort of like I feel like that there's not all his filmography, but there's somewhere it's just a lot of like style over substance kind of thing, where it's like it's great technical achievement, but the story like it's a bit cheesy. Yeah, like there's like I think like the performances are fine. This is before Leo really came into his own as an actor, so it doesn't really hold up to his other performances or whatever. But yeah, and then like like I think Billy to me is a very cliche mustache twirling kind of. So I said no.
Billy Zane started the Phantom.
But with that, we go over to Jonathan for the next nomination.
Okay, thank goodness it came back to me. Thank goodness I saved this one. So I'm gonna go with one of my favorite movies of all time that won Best Picture, and deservingly so. You know what? It's too many notes. Too many notes. Amadeus. I nominate Amadeus. I adore this movie. I love this movie. It is based on Peter Shaffer's play. It's basically a composition of rich musical notes that showcases this film as pure magic. There's some wonderful scenes in the movie, some wonderful acting from F. Murray Abraham and Tom Hulce as Salieri and Mozart, respectively. My favorite scene of the film is when Mozart is in his deathbed, helping, just going around with the notes with Salieri helping out, writing down the score. I believe it's his Requiem, the unfinished Requiem. It's a lovely scene in terms of celebrating the joy of creativity and music. And I mean, it is one of the few music movies I could rewatch over and over again. And yeah, I think this is a great movie that I could easily see once a year at least. So Amadeus.
Matt, what do you say about Amadeus?
I have seen Amadeus. I watched it when I was a freshman in high school, but unfortunately I haven't revisited the film. I do remember liking it, but I'm gonna have to say no just because I don't remember loving it enough to give it a spot over other movies that I think should definitely be on here.
Joseph, what do you say about Amadeus?
So this fell in the category that I put No Country for Old Men and Unforgiven, where I didn't love it on my first viewing. However, I have rewatched it, and the movie did go up for me when I rewatched it. And what kills it for me when I saw it, what killed it for me the first time I saw it was the ending, just because of how depressing and downright it was, and I wasn't a fan of it just because I felt like I wasted almost 3 hours, and to see how the ending just ended. I'm getting there. I'm getting there, Jonathan.
He dies.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But rewatching it though, and seeing the ending, like it's still downer, but I do see but I do see a point to that which does stay with me and give a strong resonance and power to the movie that stays with me and made it better on rewatch for me. And also, for a 3-hour movie, it flies by. Like when I saw it, I was like, okay, this is the first time I was like, okay, this is a really well paced movie. I don't like the ending. Second time I saw it, I was like, this is still a fantastically paced movie. Like it flies so well for being 3 hours long. And the ending, I did see more resonance to it, more meaning to it. So that did help the movie be better and go up for me for the for this movie. So I'm gonna say yes because it is an achievement of a movie that holds up on more than one viewing for me. That went up for me when I rewatched it as well.
Richie, what do you say about Amadeus?
I'm probably in the same boat as Joseph in the sense that it didn't hit for me the first time, but unfortunately I've only seen it once, and yeah, I just wasn't as sort of engaged with it. And like how many spots do we have left?
We have 6.
Thanks.
Yeah, I just think this, in my opinion, is sort of better movie, so I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, sadly, this is one that I wanted to see, but I just haven't seen it yet. But with that being said,
Was it
it
time?
makes the list.
Yeah.
Well, with Matt, like he has, as he said, he hasn't seen it in a while, so I'm gonna count that as a not seen. Just I don't know.
But
You're the host. You're the host.
Yeah, you're the host.
Do what you want to do.
you know what you're gonna do, but I would say that he has seen it though. But he did.
Yeah. I mean, that being said, I'm gonna leave it as a tie. So let the comments people
Oh,
yell at
God.
us in the comments.
I don't think there's anyone in the comments.
Well,
Make the right choice.
Maybe. There's one person watching, but no one's coming, so we may have to go.
I saw about when I put the poll out tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I'm gonna keep it as a tie. Because Richie does make a point, but yeah.
I mean, I have
With that, we
seen
go.
the movie, Malcolm. It's not my fault. I can't watch every movie every year, man.
With that being said, we're going to move on to Matt for his next nomination.
Okay. Movies that I have seen recently.
Wait, before we move on, so wait, do we go back or what? I don't understand the Amadeus thing.
It doesn't
was
make
tied.
It was tied as the make the list.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so I'm going to go with one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm going with The French Connection. One of Gene Hackman's best movies, one of the best cop dramas ever made. This movie is just incredibly well done. It has, in my mind, one of the greatest car chases in a movie. I love the style of the movie, how like grummy and dirty it is, and I love Popeye Doyle as like he is a heroic character, but I like that the movie doesn't shy away from showing that like he's not above like doing dirty stuff to try to like, but he's doing it with a good purpose. Roy Schneider is great in the movie as his partner, and I mean the end of the movie still. I'm
Cloudy.
sorry.
His name is Cloudy.
Cloudy. Yeah. The ending in the movie still, I don't know how many times I've seen it. It still puts me on edge when they get into the dark room. And I mean, I love just the moment of Popeye just waving at them. So French Connection is my next nomination.
Joseph, what do you say about The French Connection?
This is another movie that I appreciated the first time I saw it, and then rewatched it, and then I liked it a lot more when I saw it. Yes, what Matt was saying about the griminess and the type of atmosphere that the movie takes place in is very effective for the movie. There's also some really great chasing scenes, and not just the not just the car chase. I love the scene. Yeah, I love the scene in the subway too when he's trying to catch or keep following the guy, but he's not being the most discreet about it, and yet he still thinks that he can try to catch him, but the bad guy's also trying to also get away from him, and it's a little bit of cat and mouse game. So I think those little details like that make the movie hold up really well. So looking at what other movies have not made it and what movies have been on the last list, seeing what else I want to mention for the movies. I'm gonna vote yes for this one. I think it's a really deserving movie that should be seen more. I think for Best Picture.
Just I see a trend of Gene Hackman movies you rewatch and you grow to love more and more.
He does. I do like Gene Hackman more with seeing this and Unforgiven. Yes.
Richie, what do you say about The French Connection?
I haven't seen it, so I've got to abstain.
Yeah, I watched this for the first time for this because it's one of the many movies that's on Disney Plus for us over here
Ooh.
because we've got the Star Edition to it there, but I just like bringing that out that we can watch random movies on
Yeah.
Disney Plus for us because Titanic is also on Disney Plus for us now as well.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
But that being said, this is a movie that I sadly did not like a lot. It's got one of the best car chases I've seen in movies, and that's about it for me.
Aw.
Like
Yeah, that's fair enough.
this is really low on my list of best picture Oscar winners, so it's a no for me. Jonathan, what would you have said about the French Connection?
So this is a movie that I have heard of. It's really good. Yeah, it's probably a genre that would basically I would adore. You know, cop dramas, crime dramas. I love those movies. I have not seen it, so I have to abstain.
That's why I didn't talk about the ending, because I'm like, I feel like some people on the panel may not have seen it, and I don't want to spoil the ending of this movie.
Yeah, it's one of the few '70s best pictures I have not seen.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's a good one.
But
It's the only
with this
one.
being said, it is going to make the list.
Yeah.
This time I know for sure because it is 2 that not seen it and 3 that have seen it, and 2 said yes. So French Connection does make this list. And we move on to Joseph.
Okay, so here's where it gets tricky. Do I want to bring up another movie that from the last list, or do I want to go with a new movie that I think should also be mentioned? Okay. Like I mentioned, that if other people bring up other movies from the last list, I'll see what happens, and I'd be okay with movies from the last list being brought up again. Um, but for the sake of variety, I'm going to try to see what happens with another movie that I think should also that I think should be brought up because I think it's a really great movie. Uh, we were talking about Robert Shaw in A Man for All Seasons. There's another Best Picture winner that he was in, The Sting from 1973, with Paul Newman and Robert Redford as two cons trying to get back at Robert Shaw's character for killing one of their own. And it's one of the most fun times that I can have with the Best Picture winner from the 70s. The movie is just has a huge charm to it that has these two characters trying to show how they're going to do this sting and this con in order to get back at Robert Shaw's character, who is very intimidating in this movie. Robert Shaw's character as excuse me, Lonigan, when he's on screen and you see him with his eyes and his demeanor in showing that he's going to get what he wants and when he wants, it's intimidating to see it, and also very fun to see him as well, because Robert Shaw nails that type of demeanor in that performance in this movie. This is also a movie, just for personal reasons, that I was so glad to be able to watch without having known what happens at the end, and be very, very satisfied with the ending, because there are a lot of movies out there that I hear about and read about that get spoiled for me at different times, that I don't see a lot of movies knowing. I don't see a ton of movies going in blind, but this is one of them, and I'm so glad I did. So I'm not going to talk about what happens at the end of this thing, but I do recommend it, and that's my pick.
Richie, what do you say about The Sting?
Yeah, I mean, I like The Sting. I think it's a great, it's a good movie. It like I agree with like Robert Shaw's performance. He's very, very intimidating, very chilling. I think I've said that word chilling about 3 times now. But yeah, I can't. It's yeah, like, his performance is great. It's a great movie, but I feel like with a few spots left, there's probably, in my personal opinion, there's movies I'd rather see on this list. But so I'm going to say no, but I appreciate the pick.
Yeah, I haven't seen The Sting. I haven't even seen the sequel starring Tom Cruise. Either.
That's The Color of Money. I think that's the sequel to The Hustler.
That's The
Yeah, I was
Hustler.
gonna say that's The Hustler.
That's The Hustler, man.
Either way, I still haven't seen any of those three movies.
They do have Paul Newman. Both of them have Paul
Yeah,
Newman.
it's all good.
That's where I got confused. But anyway, I still haven't seen any of those movies. I can't say anything about this. Jonathan.
Yes, there is a sequel called The Sting 2. Not as
That
good.
is true.
Yeah, not as good. The Sting. I've seen it one time. It is a really good, really fun movie. I did not see one thing coming at the end. I'll see it. I'll reserve any spoilers because it is good. It is that good. Unfortunately, I put it at the mid-tier. It's still a really good movie, really fun movie. I do recommend it. Yeah, there are some movies that are higher up than The Sting. So sadly, I'm going to say no, but it is a fun time. Watch The Sting.
Matt, what would you have said about The Sting?
Unfortunately, despite the fact that I do love Paul Newman in movies like The Hustler and Color of Money, I have not seen The Sting at this point, unfortunately.
Which means we go over to Richie for his next nomination.
All right. Sixth movie has like one of the best performances I've seen. Very kind of one of the most menacing performances, and I'm glad he's still all these years later still getting great recognition as an actor. And the movie as a whole is great too. But I'm going to Silence of the Lambs. This movie is great. It's got great rewatchability. As one of those movies as well. I think it's been about communities. I don't know what to say about it other than just to say that it's awesome. So yeah, Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, Silence of the Lambs is one of those movies which I haven't seen. I've seen once, but it's one that I just don't remember liking enough to be able to say yes to, so I'm going to say no. Jonathan, what do you say about Silence of the Lambs?
This was going to be my next nomination. So now I have to think more. No, this is an excellent movie. Jodie Foster, Anthony Hopkins, Scott Glenn. This is definitely one of the more superior Best Picture winning films of the 90s and in history. So yes, 100% yes.
Matt, what do you say about the Silence of the Lambs?
So Kristen Smith knows this, and I've made no secret when it comes to this series. I'm more of a Manhunter fan. When it comes to films in this series, that's my favorite. Brian Cox is Hannibal. However, this is still a great movie. I've only seen it once, and I put into that category of like the Schindler's List type movies where it's like it's a brilliant movie. Seen it once. I think I don't need to rewatch it again, particularly for certain moments. But like you said, I mean, Jodie Foster is incredible in the movie. Anthony Hopkins, I mean, the guy won an Oscar for Best Actor with I think it's like 60 minutes worth of film. Scott Glenn, who's one of my favorite actors, particularly of the 90s. I mean, you have Hunt for October and Backdraft and this obviously. So I'm gonna give it a yes, even though I like Manhunter more. Just have to say that. Take it, Kristen. Yeah.
About that, it does make the list. Joseph, what you said about the Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah, according to what I've read on the internet, he was in the movie for about 24-ish minutes. He's the second shortest. He's the second shortest Best Actor Oscar winner, or in the actor with the second least amount of screen time. From the movies that made the list on the first time, this is my favorite one on that list, and this is the one that I would have been I would have been the quickest to be like, okay, I am okay with this one coming over from the last list to this list because it's my favorite one on that list of movies mentioned. So yes, it's one of my favorite movies of all time as well. And I do get the whole thing about not needing to see it again because it does have some very unsettling moments. And I think that it's for me personally, I think that its unset its atmosphere is something that not a ton of horror thrillerish movies have done as well as this movie. I love Anthony Hopkins in the movie, and whenever he's on screen, I love the Manhunter shout out too, because Brian Cox is really incredible in that movie, and there's also great direction in that movie from Michael Mann. But yeah, so I would have said yes as well to Silence of the Lambs.
But it's on to me, and I'm after what Joseph just said, I'm kind of nervous about this one because this one was on the previous list. I'm going to go for Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. This is a great movie. Well, yes, I look like Peter Jackson and all that.
No.
But
Yeah.
this is such a great movie. It's got something like I love all the performances in this. And it's like I know people like to give it shit for the multiple endings and all that. I like it. I like it more on extended. But this is just a fun movie. I've said a lot about this many times, so I don't need to say more about it. Jonathan, what do you
Lord
say?
of the Rings ever? I don't think I've heard you speak about those films. You fan?
I gotta think about. Come back to me. I need to think about this.
Matt, what do you say about Lord of the Rings: Return of the King?
So Malcolm, you remember when I said you were dead to me for not voting for one of my favorite films?
Oh, God.
Rocky? Yeah, I'm going with the no for Return of the King because it's good, but I like Two Towers more in this trilogy. So yeah,
Joseph, what do you say about Lord of the
how
Rings?
you like
Return
them
of the King?
apples?
I mean, you already did it to me when you said no
That
to
should have won.
Titanic.
That should have won.
I don't think I said no last time.
You said no to Titanic, is what I meant.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, then
Basically,
fine.
2-1.
Yeah. Now you'll
Joseph,
say no to my next nomination.
Joseph, what do you say about Lord of the Rings: Return of the King?
Yeah, this is in my top 25 favorite movies of all time. Actually, all three Lord of the Rings movies. Hobbit movies can go to the side because those are not as great. But the Lord of the Rings movies like interchange for me at different times. Like sometimes I prefer one for Fellowship for establishing all the characters and journeys at the start of the movie. Two Towers has some incredible action battle sequences, and then Return of the King has some very powerfully emotional moments for me that resonate with me for the entire trilogy. Um, I feel like I can't assume what Jonathan is thinking about, but there's some part of me that's also pondering if I should also bring this back from the last list because, like I was mentioning about how I do want to see some more variety and not just the same movies from the last list, even though the last list had a lot of great movies. But looking at what's been brought up and what movies were on the last list. For this list, I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes. I do think it's of a top tier quality that I should not say no to when this movie was the last movie to win all 11 of its 11 nominations, like the biggest sweep of the Oscars, and it's also the last movie to win 11 Oscars, tying that record. And I think that that movie deserves
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Malcolm, I think only Godfather and Silence of the Lambs were from the last list as well.
Yep.
So we've done a good job of bringing up more movies. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think at this point, you're at the stage where you either hadn't seen Lord of the Rings or you didn't like it.
No, we've been over this. I had seen Lord of the Rings. I just had no interest in rewatching them. That was the thing. Yeah. No, I think I said yes on last because I think if this was that, I think I had seen it. What up, Malcolm?
Anyway.
I've seen it now and
Richie,
I liked
what
it.
do you say?
I just
I actually appreciate. I actually appreciate the bands back and forth because it's giving me time to think because put it in
You're welcome.
no idea where to go with this. Look, I appreciate. I love the Lord of the Rings franchise. It literally, in some cases, literally put the New Zealand on the map. It's literally maps that admitted New Zealand. It went once Lord of the Rings came out and had all used as a tourist sort of ploy. They people drew New Zealand back into the map, drew New Zealand on the map. So I mean, and I love Return of the King. It's a great finale. But I personally, I'm sort of. I also prefer Two Towers, but it's hard. How many spots do we have left?
4.
We've got 4.
Okay. Look, I'm gonna say no, but yeah.
Malcolm, I actually think, I still have my Two Towers DVD in my stack
Oh,
of
man.
movies over here.
Okay.
I still have it.
Sorry.
So, Jonathan, it's on you.
Okay. So what I was thinking, here's why I'm going to say yes. The reason why I'm saying yes is because I think we should celebrate the achievement behind Peter Jackson making all 3 movies. I think this is these 3 movies are like a masterpiece of rich special effects, story-driven films. We love all the characters. We're honed in on the characters. Peter Jackson did a great job of creating J.R.R. Tolkien's world. It felt like I was there. And very rarely I feel like I am there at like Minas Tirith or the Shire or wherever. And I'm saying yes because I think this movie, in addition to the Two Towers and the Fellowship of the Ring, regardless of what your favorite is, it should be celebrated as an achievement. And it is still celebrated as achievement. A lot of people adore these Lord of the Rings, the main Lord of the Rings movies, not the Hobbit movies. But yeah, this should go on the list as an achievement because also No Country for Old Men and Amadeus was in my top 12 and it's not making on the list. And this was number 13. So you were lucky.
Malcolm, don't forget, this is the theatrical you got to vote on. The extended didn't win Best Picture. So that means the main villain of the
Still the
first 2
same.
movies just disappeared entirely from this one, except for like one line, which I still hate because Sauron is awesome because it's Christopher Lee.
But
Just
with
nowhere.
that, we go to Jonathan for his next nomination.
Okay. I'll go with the one that I respected, or have I seen recently? Okay. I know this was on the last list, but it should still be on this list because of its importance. And Matt brought this up earlier. Schindler's List. Now, it is a tough watch. Yes. But it is a masterpiece, and it should be a tough watch. I don't think the Holocaust is a breezy subject to view upon or look upon. Steven Spielberg, this is the movie that was definitely the 1993 movie that won Best Picture easily. Even though I love The Fugitive. But Schindler's List, this was one of the movies that was an experience that was tough to conceive because you felt so badly for the Jews, the millions of Jews involved during the Holocaust, and it felt like rewatching history, like from the history books, for sure. And that Spielberg, for sure, made the right decision to make it black and white, because I felt like I was not watching actors, playing people. I was watching like people like what's Ray Fiennes' character's name?
Amon Guth.
Amon Guth. I did not see Ray Fiennes in that character. I saw Amon Guth. And when I was reading the history behind Schindler's List, the people who were in the middle of production avoided Ralph Fiennes because it reminded them of Amon Guth. And that in itself, in addition to many other things, is an achievement because Spielberg respected the history of the Holocaust. So you got to view it as a movie of importance and not rewatchability when it comes to Schindler's List. So because of that, I think Schindler's List should be on this list again. So,
yeah. Matt, what do you say about Schindler's List?
Yeah, no, I adore the movie. It's just a tough watch, but I adore the film. I've said it before on not on this show, I don't think, but I know on Late Night I've said that Liam Neeson's performance as Oscar Schindler is in my top 5 favorite acting performances in film. The last scene with the pen, how many lives could this have saved? It's so good. The entire cast. Spielberg really knocked it out of the park, and it's still talking about Park. It's incredible. He did this the same year he did Jurassic Park. I don't know how he conceivably was able to make one of the all-time great action adventure films and then also make one of the greatest hard-hitting dramatic films of all time.
What a landmark year for him.
Yeah, that's my Spielberg's GOAT for me. So yeah, I give it a heck yes. I think it should definitely make the list again.
Joseph, what do you say about Schindler's List?
Okay, I hate to rain on the parade. I do think this is a really good movie. Like, I've seen it once, and that ending scene with the pin and the car and that whole resolution stayed with me, and it still stays with me for how emotionally resonating and powerful it is. My thing is that with 3 spots, and there are also more Best Picture winners that I would also rather put on the list. I'm gonna lean towards Snow. I'm sorry. I've been meaning to rewatch it. It's a really good movie, and it's also one of the best hard-hitting films in terms of movies that I see on the first time I see it, and being okay with not necessarily rewatching it. But I do want to rewatch it. But yeah, there are just others that I do feel stronger about, so I'm gonna say no. I'm sorry.
Richie, what do you say about Schindler's List?
Yeah, this is on my list. It is really it's a tough watch, but I think it's essential watch. It's not like one that's going to have rewatchability or anything like that, but it's one of like Steven Spielberg's sort of crowning achievements, and I will say yes.
And with that, it does make this list.
We've seen it now since the last one.
I haven't rewatched it since the last time, but I have seen it. I thought I was going to be one to rain on the parade. Where I was going to say it's a good movie, but I would have said no as well. But just because it's not like it's one of those ones that it's not in my personal top 12. It is one I've been meaning to rewatch at some stage. Because I always hate the term when people go, "Oh, this is a movie you can only watch once." I mean, movies are made to watch multiple times, regardless of the subject matter. Well, yes, they're tough watches.
It's for me, it's more just the emotional roller coaster. I'm just like, God, do I want to put myself through that again? Like,
yeah. I mean, I wasn't trying to say it's not a tough watch because it is.
Yeah, like I said, it's not a breezy subject.
He was not like, this will be a fun movie. Everyone's gonna go like 5 times to see it in the theater. Nah, that was Jurassic Park. That was his.
I hope there's one movie
year.
But
pretty serious list, actually.
I mean, it goes to show not a lot of comedies have won Best Picture.
No, I want to bring. I hope there's one movie. There is one movie out there.
At least 2, technically.
For me, hopefully that'll be brought up.
But Matt, what is the next one you're going to bring up?
The next one, because now it's just like it's crunch time, unfortunately. But the next one I'm going to bring up is Wapner. Definitely Wapner. Charlie Babbitt. I'm going with Rain Man. I adore this movie. obviously, Dustin Hoffman is so good as Raymond, but I think Tom Cruise kind of unfortunately gets shoved aside, which is weird considering he is the one who has the arc in the movie. And as a brother, I really connect to this movie because that's what the film is about. At the end of the day, it's about brothers, and it's about Charlie reconnecting with his brother who he thought was just an imaginary friend to him, and then he realizes it was real, and the journey he goes on. It's a really sweet movie, and we have a lot of Schindler's List, Silence of the Lambs, and Unforgivens. And Rain Man is just like a really nice story about Charlie Babbitt, who kind of starts the movie as a really shitty character, and by the end, genuinely cares about his brother and wants the best for his brother, and is going to do everything to be the best brother he can be. And I just really love that. So Rain Man is my next nomination. Who's on first? Well, who's on first? It's supposed to be funny, Ray. It's not a question.
Joseph, what do you say about Rain Man?
Dang it, Matt. I thought I was able to say that I've seen all the movies mentioned so far, but this is not one of them. So I'm sorry, I'm going to have to do my...
definitely check it out.
I'm going to abstain this time. Sorry.
There's like 90 years worth of movies. I'm fine with you not seeing all of them.
There are 13 Best Picture winners I have not seen yet. This is one of them. Sorry. Yeah.
Richie, what do you say about Rain Man?
Yeah, I definitely appreciate sort of wanting to bring more sort of light to this list because there's a very the list is kind of like very heavy and subject matter and stuff. And I like Rain Man. Dustin Hoffman's performance is great. I just think there's just so few spots. There's movies I would rather see on this. So I'm going to say no, but I appreciate the pick.
Yeah, I've seen about 10 minutes of this, and I went back to watch the rest of it on Netflix and found out that it was taken off Netflix. So
that happens, right?
Yeah, it does.
For the first 10 minutes, you think should be nominated,
That's
right?
me, huh?
I'm not going to say yes or no based on that first 10 minutes. But Jonathan, what do you say about Rain Man?
Yeah. Come on, guys. When it comes to me, I make the tough decisions. It is a really good movie. Yeah, I sympathize with the Cruise character a little bit because obviously I'm not autistic, but yeah, the brotherly relationship between them, it is heartwarming, heartfelt, but also a little sad towards the end regarding what happens to the characters. Yeah, Barry Levinson did a great job directing the film. He won the Oscar for Best Director. Hans Zimmer with one of his, I think, in my opinion, one of his best scores.
Yeah.
And it also inspired the Hangover, Las Vegas.
Yeah, the Las Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna say no, but it is a really good movie. It is a tender movie to watch, and it kind of holds up in some regard. Hoffman actually creates a realistic performance of an autistic person. He definitely deserved that Oscar that year for sure. So
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he does not like make fun of or be one dimensional, be silly.
I'm not sure if you've ever
I'm
seen
gonna say no, but it
Awakenings.
is a very good movie.
I'm not sure, Joseph, if you've ever seen Awakenings with Robert De Niro and Rob Williams, but it's very similar to how Robert De Niro plays in Awakenings. Like it's a serious depiction of a person with autism, an autistic person. Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen Awakenings. Yeah.
So no.
Yeah. Richie, did you say yes to Rain Man?
No, he said he appreciated it.
Yeah,
Which I like that you were like, that was a shitty pick. I said no.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to check. So, unfortunately, Rain Man doesn't make this list.
That's my next Malcolm. I'm gonna make sure you see Rain Man some way, somehow, because I think you'll really love it. Just knowing you, I think you'll love it.
But we could go back to Joseph. Joseph, what's your next nomination?
Yeah, just two quick things. I wanted to quickly mention that from the few clips that I've seen, Rain Man because I see like promos or bits and pieces of it like on YouTube and different places where they mention it. Like
Mhm.
I like what I've seen. Like I like what I've seen in Dustin Hoffman's performance, but yeah, I just haven't gotten to that movie yet. And also, speaking of Hans Zimmer, his first Oscar nomination for Best Original Score was for Rain Man.
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Cool. It's a great score too. Yeah,
It is.
It's a good one.
Okay, so with my next pick, staying in the vein of lighter fare that Matt was mentioning, how we have some dark movies, some disturbing movies, some hard to watch movies. I'm also going to try to bring up a lighter movie that I think is a very enjoyable, very entertaining movie with some great romantic chemistry between Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert, called "It Happened One Night" from 1934. The first movie to pick up the big five at the Oscars: actor, director, actress, screenplay. In this case, it was adapted screenplay and best picture. The chemistry between these two actors is so good. Like it's like if at the time they weren't doing sequels, but if they were making sequels, like I wish they could have made more with these two characters. But sadly, Claudette Colbert and Clark Gable didn't seem to enjoy each other off screen, so which goes to show the power of their acting and their chemistry when they appear on screen, which I think is fantastic, and one of the earliest rom coms also, and from one of my favorite directors, Frank Capra. I think it's a very very deserving Best Picture winner and a very good representation on in terms of the lighter type of movies, comedic movies that won Best Picture, of which there aren't, like we mentioned, too many.
Richie, what do you say about It Happens One Night?
I have to abstain. I haven't seen it.
I have not seen this either. Jonathan, what do you say about It Happened One Night?
Hey, Matt, have you seen it?
I really love Frank Capra, but unfortunately, this is one of the few films of his that I've unfortunately not seen yet.
Okay. Okay. Well, I have seen it today. I saw it today. Actually, I would have said yes because we don't have many like 40s, 50s movies on the list, and it is a great movie, and it has one of the more seamless on-screen romantic comedies. I mean, romantic chemistries. The scene at the hotel where they have to pose as a married couple in front of the authorities is sublime. That is a sublime moment, and I bought every single second of improvisation during that scene. I was like, bravo. I wanted to give a round of applause to both Gable and Colbert, and they did win Oscars, actor and actress that year, and deservingly so. So yeah, I saw it today. I want to devote my praise to it. It is a great movie. Watch this movie. It is one of the great Capra films. Sure.
So you said it. You would have said yes to it.
I would have said yes to it, but unfortunately, all three abstained. So.
Well,
yeah, but that means it makes the list since
it does?
we three haven't seen it. So yeah,
Yeah,
so it
you-
used to be if you didn't see it, it was a no. But
No,
now
it's all
we got
up to
rid of
me
that.
again, wouldn't it?
No, yeah.
Oh,
So it
okay.
makes the list, I believe. Then by
yeah,
Malcolm's
that's what
rules.
I was gonna. Yeah, I really need to rethink this rule because
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
but-
not Joseph's
but,
fault now.
well, no, but it
He
makes the
gained the
list
system.
because.
And we love that at Take Three.
Yeah, I'm going to. It's one of those because I know that I'm not. It doesn't happen if no one else has seen the movie.
Yeah,
so
no,
nobody
Jonathan
has-
hadn't seen it.
And then the two of us said yes. So yeah.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it would have still fallen to me.
And Jonathan, you said you
Again.
just seen it for the first time today.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Joseph, imagine if he had waited until tomorrow to see it for the first time.
You love
True.
But it is a very, very good movie. I highly recommend.
I love Capra, so it's just one of those you can't see everything.
And like I said, we need a a old classic on the list.
We need a
First 30s to be brought up on the list from the last list and this list.
But for that, we're gonna move over to Richie. Richie,
Oh,
what
this
is
is gonna
your
be a
next nomination?
It's going to be harder to get stuff on the list now because we've got lots, but it's going to be this is probably, I'm just going to throw this out there. Don't know if it's name. But speaking of Dustin Hoffman, Kramer versus Kramer. I think this the Robert Benton director does the performances are great. It's obviously it's a lot of people. It's a subject matter that resonates with people. I think Rob Benton does a really good job with not particularly as taking sides, and you can empathize with both characters, and it's just a really sort of really gripping story. And it's one I go back to every year. So yeah, Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah, I love Kramer versus Kramer, but sadly it's going to be a no. This just was too far out of the range where I was comfortable saying yes to on my personal list. But I will say, if you aren't listening to the Digesting Cinema podcast, they had an episode of Kramer versus Kramer a long time ago. It was one of their first episodes. It's such a good talk, especially with both people had not seen this movie before that this year, so it's a lot of fun. Hosted by Christy V and Aaron J. But Jonathan, what do you say about Kramer versus Kramer?
Well, first of all, happy birthday to Christy V. It's her birthday today.
Happy birthday, Christy.
If she's
I don't know
watching,
why I applaud you on your birthday.
someone
Good
will,
work for surviving another year.
So shout out, happy birthday. So back to the movie, Kramer versus Kramer. I have seen it actually recently. This is one of the few ones I have seen recently. For the first time. It's a very good movie. It fell short. I forgot to review it though. It fell short. For me, I think this is a good movie with great performances. I thought it was like, okay, it's good, but it has great performances from Hoffman, Streep, and the kid. The kid.
Justin
He's the
Henry.
brother from 16
Yes,
Candles.
Justin Henry. Justin Henry. Yes. It's really great performances. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say no. No.
Matt, what do you say about Kramer versus Kramer?
I have seen this movie. It has one of the most deceptive posters of all time. Because you look at that poster, that ain't what the movie is, guys. It's a really good movie. But this is the last spot we're fighting for now, right, Malcolm?
Yeah.
Yeah. For the last spot, if you brought it up maybe a little bit earlier, maybe I could convince to say yes. But at this point, it's a good movie. It's a really good movie. But I gotta, unfortunately.
And Joseph, what would Joseph say about Kramer versus Kramer?
I also have seen this movie I've seen this movie once, and I did like it. It's just that with exactly what people were saying, there's one spot left, and there are a number of movies that I would want to see rather be picked for that last spot. Again, it's a good movie. Personally, I would have picked Apocalypse Now from that year. Speaking of movies that are brutal but also really spectacular from a filmmaking viewpoint. But yeah, I also would have said no. But it's a good movie again, like others were mentioning. It's a good movie, just not quite to the quality of some other winners that I would prefer to see here.
Yeah. But you're looking at what we've got on the list so far. It seems to be quite the opposite of last time, because we've got two movies post 2000. All the rest are pre 2000 movies. And I'm pretty sure the last list is a kind of the opposite one. There's a lot of recent.
Sometimes I can't remember. You showed the list at the beginning of this, but that just shows.
I'm going to show it again, but you said no to movies only, no DiCaprio. I'm going to try and get another one on. I'm going to go for The Departed.
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
This is such a great movie. Leonardo DiCaprio and Jack Nicholson had two great performances in this. I think this was Martin Scorsese's first Oscar win as director as well.
And only
sadly, his first.
Yeah. But I think this is such a good movie. It deserves to be on this list. Jonathan, what do you say about The Departed?
He's taking this very seriously.
No, here's why. Because I was gonna bring up a movie. Actually, both of the one movie that if it's voting no, then I'll bring another movie that's actually my top 12. They're actually both in the end.
Ooh.
And Scorsese is my favorite director. Ah, man. I hate to draw this card, but come back to me.
Matt, what do you say about The Departed?
So, as my sister's boyfriend and his father very upsettingly learned on Memorial Day, I have not seen The Departed as of yet. So I have to abstain. But if you have seen The Departed and you feel like rewatching it, we have a watch along of The Departed on this channel right now. Plug away. But I do know this is where the song Shipping Up Boston came from. And I kind of hate The Departed for giving the Patriots this song. And I don't mean the Schmodown team. I'm a New York Giants fan. So,
Joseph, what do you say about The Departed?
This is in my top. This is my top 30, top 25-ish Best Picture winners. I do think it's a really good movie. Another one of those movies that's 2.5 hours but flies by really well. That said, there are a couple of other movies that are higher on my top 25 that I would rather see over The Departed, which again, I do think it's a good movie. I just don't. I just feel like there are other better movies deserving on that last spot. So I'm gonna say no. Sorry to put pressure on the next two guys, Richie and Jonathan.
Richie, what do you say about Jonathan? What do you say about The
Richie, what are you really thinking,
Hey,
you panelists here? All
Best
right,
Picture.
You're voting on
Best Picture. Hey, if I won Best Picture, it's fine. I mean,
I think
we
Jonathan,
go get the Oscar. I'll be right back. No.
I think Jonathan should make the list. Look, this is man. You said, Joseph, you put me in a difficult position because I love The Departed. I think it's great, but I also think that his best the best picture win for The Departed and the winning the best director. I feel like it was kind of the Academy going, oh, sorry, we didn't. We probably didn't. We didn't let you in for these probably better movies, but yeah, and it's sort of like when Leo won his Oscar. It's like it's like sort of a kind of a lifetime achievement kind of thing. I don't know, but I do like it. Jesus. Look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jonathan. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's probably not going. It's not going to make the list. It's going to end up in a tie.
Right, thank you.
So well,
No, it was like number 12. So, but there is one movie above it that I will nominate. But yeah, it would have been a yes for me because I love The Departed. It is one of my rewatchable films. Yeah, it is sadly one of his Scorsese's first Oscar. It should have gone to him for Goodfellas that year, and that one, and also Best Picture for Goodfellas.
Oh, God,
but yeah, I would have said yes. It would came to me.
But with that being said, it is going to you, Jonathan. What is your next nomination?
Oh crap!
What is the one above Departed?
Okay, here we go. Now this is the movie I rewatched because I've only seen it one time, and this is The Apartment. Billy Wilder's The Apartment. I loved this movie as I rewatched it a couple of days ago. I think it was a couple of days ago. I thought it was just a superbly crafted comedy of manners in terms of like good versus bad behavior. I think if it were today, it would be called like the Bachelor Pad or something like that. But the way they used Lemon's apartment, 4 people for promotion, I believe. So yeah, they basically let him have the apartment just so they can do whatever in the apartment. So he can have a promotion, and he gets a couple of promotions throughout the movie, and it is pretty funny. But nevertheless, Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine create a fantastic chemistry. If you want to talk about another romantic chemistry that work well, it is Lemmon and MacLaine. They are wonderful together, and also individually. But also, there's one performance that I don't want to overlook, and it's Fred McMurray as Sheldrake. Oh man, I hated him. I hated Sheldrake with a passion. It's just he wants to, I don't think I should spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it. But the way he takes advantage of Lemon is just, I was like, oh, come on. And then what Lemon does at the end of the film is just, yeah, wonderful. Great job. So if we look, and also to make things help, it is kind of a Christmas movie, kind of. It is a great movie, in my opinion. Billy Wilder's The Apartment.
So, Matt, have you seen The Apartment?
No, I haven't, unfortunately. But Jonathan, how does that help? Because we don't have any Christmas movies on
We'll see. We'll see in a second.
Because if we're talking about best Christmas movies, Malcolm, obviously that is Lethal Weapon. You know all about that. I talked about the religious connections to that film. No, I unfortunately have not seen Billy Wilder. Did you say?
Mm-hmm. Billy Wilder.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen The Apartment.
Joseph, what do you say about The Apartment?
This is one of the movies that I have ranked in among my highest movies that have won Best Picture. I really, really enjoyed this movie. And like Jonathan was mentioning again, I do think this is also a really great movie to bring up for how different of a Best Picture winner it is compared to the more serious, dramatic, and disturbing or dark Best Picture winners that often win the Oscars. But this one is a very, very charming, if a little bit off-putting, because of how Jack Lemmon's they call him Buddy Boy, or they call him Buddy Boy, and his name is Baxter. But how they use Buddy Boy in order to use his apartment. In Mexico, they actually translated it as bachelor flat for that movie, exactly like you were mentioning. But yeah, I do think it's a really great movie. The satirical aspect of it on how some people are just clueless about how they treat others, and also how people try to take advantage of each other and try to use poor Jack Lemmon's apartment, Buddy Boy's apartment for their own means is kind of tragic, but also kind of funny seeing all the antics play out in the movie. It's going to be a yes, really, yes.
Richie, what do you say about The Apartment?
This is probably one of my biggest blind spots. I haven't seen it for a while, so I'm going to say no. I mean, not no, but I can't let go abstain. We're all making stuff. Anyway, move on.
Over 90 years worth of movies, we all got.
You'd think with the amount of time The Apartment comes up in the STEM community, I would have seen it by now.
So what does that mean?
But Joseph, you suggested, didn't you?
Yes, I said yes.
So that means it makes
which means it makes the list.
Literally our last two spots. All right.
We need breezy light comedies on the list. It was getting dark. For sure.
Yeah.
Damn.
But with that being said, we have reached 12.
All right. Give me a sec, guys. I'm just gonna.
But just to recap what the 12 we have on this shortlist, we've got The Godfather, we've got The Godfather Part 2, A Man for All Seasons, got Parasite, we've got Ben-Hur, we've got Unforgiven, French Connection, Silence of the Lambs, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Schindler's List, Table of My Night, and The Apartment. And just for comparison's sake, I'm going to bring up what the top 12 was last time once again. So as you can see, we've got Schindler's List, Godfather, Lawrence of Arabia, Lord of the Rings, Silence of the Lambs, Spotlight, On the Waterfront, Gladiator, Casablanca, Bridge Over the River Kwai, Sound of Music, and No Country for Old Men. I know, so I was wrong. We didn't have a lot of. It was still really classic on this as well.
Yeah, it's only four movies.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened.
But with that being said, Jonathan, did you have any honorable mentions?
You know what? I forgot to bring up One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I would have nominated it earlier, and that's a great movie. On the Waterfront was on my list. Casablanca, Braveheart, Sound of Music, and Gladiator. Yeah.
But Matt, did you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, Argo, Spotlight, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Forrest Gump, and the movie that was going to be my next nomination, which was Freedom! Braveheart.
Jesus.
My next nomination.
Joseph, I apologize. You got deaf. I mean,
Hey,
or Malcolm
I'm
too.
just being. Look, they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom. I'm sorry, I'm just being accurate to the film.
But anyway, Joseph, did you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, a couple. I did. I did. People were mentioning a lot of great Best Picture winners. Movies that did not make either the last list or this list, but I do think are worth mentioning. The movie that actually would have been my tough to watch movie like Schindler's List was 12 Years a Slave. Actually, I think that's a really great great film, a great directed and acted movie. Ordinary People is also a very emotionally devastating movie that I think, or at least for me personally, hits hard. All Quiet on the Western Front, one of the most devastating war movies ever, that I do think is also a really great Best Picture winner. Another very devastating movie, but great one, West Side Story. If you ask me, the best musical to win Best Picture, and In the Heat of the Night, which is one of the most recent one of the most recent first time watches Best Picture winners that I saw. That I think is a really well acted movie. Sidney Poitier is incredible in that movie.
And Richie, what honorable mentions did you have?
Yeah, I think most of them are brought up, but yeah, I had Spotlight, Gladiator, and I also had Birdman because I love that movie. So yeah.
And for me, like one is really high up on my personal list, but because it only literally just won this year, Nomadland was one that I was considering bringing up, but I didn't want to do. It's too recent as well, so I didn't know how that would go. $1 Million Baby is one I watched for the first time this year. Is a good movie. For me, my favorite musical to have won is Oliver. And A Beautiful Mind. And I know there's a lot of hate for the English patient, but I do enjoy it. I know it's not one that people like, but yeah.
Fargo.
Ambitions of Our Lives isn't
Tom
that
Cruise,
terrible.
your actor.
But with that being said, now we get to the point we get to rank these. So got to write down on our whiteboards or a bit of paper, whichever is handy, and what we.
I written down my 12 already. I knew. As soon as they picked it, I'm like,
This was easy.
It is not easy, if you ask me. Jeez. Oh my gosh.
11.
Hold on, give me a few seconds.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not a bad list.
No, it's not.
Yeah, not bad.
Jonathan, what do you have for 12?
A Man for All Seasons.
Matt.
Okay. Based off of the ones that I've seen that I can vote on, this is not meant to be what you think it is, but I have Return of the King.
Joseph.
The French Connection.
Richie, what do you have for 12?
A Man for All Seasons.
The French Connection.
Cool.
I have
Oh, Matt.
I don't think I can vote because I haven't seen Man for All Seasons.
Or
Well, you're. It's going to come down to you to break the time. So if you want to say it, you can. I'm not going to hate you for it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just wouldn't feel because you know me. I don't vote to rank on movies that I haven't seen. So we should probably just do the coin flip for it.
Okay, coin flip, or in this case, it's a real.
Oh. Actually, that's a good. Well done, Matt. Yeah, that's a good.
Well, I don't. You will see as the list goes on. I don't even vote on movies that I haven't seen because I
Yeah,
can't
that's
rank
fair.
them.
Yeah,
It's fair.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to not pick the one that I elected to be on this list. I brought up French Connection. But
That's
if
fair.
it makes 12, I'm going to be so sad with my stupid good conscience. Papa Doyle would have done that. He would have voted for He would have voted for Man for All Seasons without seeing it. Oh man, I'm gonna watch French Connection after this.
Yeah, me too. I
and just because it's only 2 movies, I've made it fair and put a few extra slots, so it's bold.
Season
So it's a little
French.
bit,
That's great.
Oh.
Okay.
It's a hard pick for this list. I really like all of these movies.
One of the 2 I've not seen.
So what made the list?
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
All right.
It's not getting easier though. Jeez.
Oh yeah. Wait until
Well,
we get
after 11, it's not.
top 3.
Maybe it's gonna be this one.
Matt, what do you have for 11?
I have Return of the King.
Joseph, what do you have for 11?
So sorry. I do really like this movie, but just based on the others, A Man for All Seasons.
Richie, what do you have for 11?
Didn't change it, Man for All Seasons.
I've got Silence of the Lambs. Jonathan.
A Man for All Seasons. Okay. Now gets hard. This gets hard. Man, I love every single one of these movies.
Well, that at least worked out. That
I don't know now.
the spin had to go. At least it ended up.
I'm just hearing Man for All Seasons is my number 1.
Hey, it made the list. At least that of
No, but
the
my number 1
90
didn't even get on this list because you said no. So
of the 90 plus movies, getting on the top 12 is still really good.
yeah.
But with that being said, Joseph, what do you have for number 10?
Doesn't get any easier. Parasite.
Richie.
Return of the King.
Silence of the Lambs. Jonathan.
Ben-Hur.
Matt.
I have Ritorno del Re, which is Italian for Return of the King.
Well, this is actually a big drop from last time.
Hey, it still made the top 10.
I know. It's the only one that so far that we've ranked from the last list. So, but Richie, what do you have for 9?
Ben-Hur.
Silence of the Lambs.
Come
Jonathan.
back to me. I didn't write it.
Matt.
Silence of the Lambs.
And Joseph.
Parasite.
Oh, okay. Well, I wrote it happened one
John.
night, so.
But Silence of the Lambs is going to be 9.
Whew.
Hmm.
So, Richie, what do you have for 8?
I just hit with Ben-Hur.
Parasite, Jonathan.
It happened one night.
Matt,
Schindler's List.
and Joseph.
I changed it from Parasite to Schindler's List.
So,
Schindler's List is going to be 8.
See, now this is getting hard for me because now there's less and less movies I've actually seen that I can vote on.
But I've got Parasite. Jonathan,
it happened one night.
Matt.
Godfather Part 2.
Whoa.
Wow.
Once again, this
Joseph.
is based off of the ones that are left that I've seen.
Yeah,
that I
but
can vote
I
on.
mean,
Went back to Parasite.
Richie.
Happened one night.
It's a tie again.
that was a Matt.
And if I remember rightly, I don't think Matt has seen either Parasite or Happened One Night.
All right. So,
And both movies rhyme if you say it the right
I have a
way.
coin.
Happened
I
one
mean,
night, Parasite. Well, all right.
The wheel worked out last time, so
all right.
I mean it's
Yeah,
right.
this is hard, man.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
And the wheel is spinning.
Oh, come on.
Parasite is going to be 7.
Damn it.
Yeah, this one should not make the top 5.
Just to recap, what we've got left, we've got The Two Godfathers, Ben-Hur, Unforgiven, and It Happened One Night, and The Apartment. But Matt, what do you have for 6?
Same thing. Godfather Part 2.
Joseph.
Ben-Hur.
Richie.
It happened one night.
It Happened One Night. Jonathan.
It happened one night.
Now comes the really rough part, the top 5.
Actually, I like the top 5. This is great. Movies.
Yeah, it's a great top 5.
Ranking them. You know what? I gotta go honesty.
So the top 5, it's Godfather 1 and 2.
Ben-Hur, Unforgiven, and The Apartment. Yeah, that's a murderer's row right there. My opinion.
It's for me, I've got The Apartment at 5. Jonathan.
Ben-Hur.
Matt.
Godfather 2.
Jonathan.
I put Ben-Hur.
Joseph.
I also said Ben-Hur.
and Richie.
Ben-Hur.
It was the 5th choice selected, and it's number 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
But Matt, what do you have for 4?
Godfather Part 2.
Joseph.
The Apartment.
Richie.
Unforgiven.
I've got The Apartment. Jonathan.
The Apartment. Oh my god.
That's a solid top 3 right there.
Yeah.
That's a really solid top 3.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I'll be honest, I think one of these 3 has number 1.
Yeah, any one of these 3 is number 1. I think no one could be like,
Yeah.
oh, that
Yeah, I
was
would not
better than that.
be angry. So
But Joseph, what do you have for number 3?
The Godfather.
Richie.
Unforgiven.
I've got Unforgiven. Jonathan.
Unforgiven.
And Matt.
I got Godfather Part 2. Ah.
Oh boy. Oh, the Battle of the Godfathers. I love it. Can we tie it? I mean,
No.
Now or 2?
Yeah.
Do we pick out number 1 now or 2?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
vote for your number 1.
we go straight for number 1.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Jonathan, what is the number 1? Or your number 1?
The Godfather.
Matt.
I'm going to make you guys an offer that you can't refuse. Vote Godfather.
Joseph.
Da 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 da. The Godfather Part 2.
Richie.
Godfather Part 2.
Oof. Comes down to Malcolm.
Yeah,
Again,
I've got one of them. the Godfather.
That's fair.
I mean, it deserves it.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what? Like I said, either one of the 3, I'm happy to have as number 1. I mean,
No, definitely. It's a solid list.
And I mean, somewhere Kirk was happy that that got the 2 Godfathers and Unforgiven as the top 3. I'm pretty sure he likes them both. All 3
I got
of
a
them.
question. I do have a question. Is this the first time like the number 1 pick is number 1 of the top 12? I don't know, but
I mean, I think it's happened a few times before.
okay.
Honestly, sometimes these episodes last so long, I'm lucky if I even remember what movies were brought up, let alone the order.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, it's one of those ones
It's
like
rare.
unless we do a Redux, I don't remember what the top
Yeah.
12 of any list is. But before I go to recap the top 12 for this list, I'm going to bring out the top 12 from the previous list again. So back when we did this back in 2018, somewhere around there,
Yeah.
might have been longer than that. We had No Country for Old Men, Sound of Music, Bridge on the River Kwai, Casablanca, Gladiator, On the Waterfront, Spotlight, Silence of the Lambs, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Lawrence of Arabia, Godfather, and Schindler's List.
I think it was 2019 because I think I remember it being after Green Book won Best Picture.
Yes,
Yeah,
I do remember that.
that sounds about right. But on this list, which is a lot different, we've got at 12 The French Connection, At 11, A Man for All Seasons. At 10, making a big drop from last time, Return of the King. At 9, we've got Silence of the Lambs. At 8, we got Schindler's List, if it comes up. At 7, we've got Parasite. At 6, we've got It Happened One Night. At 5, we've got Ben-Hur. At 4, we've got The Apartment. At 3, we've got Unforgiven. At 2, we got The Godfather Part 2. At 1, we got The Godfather Part 1. Don't know why I brought that up again, but
Actually,
but with that being said,
climb. So yeah, 2-1. Hey.
Yeah. But with that being said, I'll have the poll for next week up in a bit. But Richie, where can people find you online?
Just I'm all around all the trivia leagues. Don't really have much coming up. I've got a few randoms coming up in the next coming months. So just look for me there. I've got a comedy page. Just type in Richie Goodacre, anything like that. Otherwise, that's it.
Joseph, where can people find you online?
I'm on Letterboxd at Joseph020, and also at various trivia leagues like Full Metal, Multiplex, and FPTL. And I'm in the middle of a Warzone tournament, and I hope you guys can check out in a few weeks.
Matt, where can people find you online?
You guys, as always, can find me at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter, MattMovies611 on YouTube, and right here as host of 2 shows, the Fandom Podcast. I have some topics, just putting some guests to them, trying to just get recording dates figured out, but I'm hopefully going to be able to record a couple in a row to get some more episodes out for you guys. I'm also in production on a new episode of Second Look on the Hunt for October. Also, coming up July 7th, it starts Iconicon. I'm a part of that convention, so go check that out, iconicon.com. I'm on a couple panels. I'm on a video dropping, so I'll be sure to plug that on Twitter a lot as we get closer to it. So,
Jonathan, where can people find you online?
You can find me at JohnCarroll4 on Twitter and Instagram, and also I do have a Letterboxd account, Cinecaro, CINE_CARO, Cinecaro. I do reviews there, and you can find me in other trivia leagues, including this one, Full Metal, FPTL, Nerd Entertainment Network, and coming soon, Really Trivia. So check me out.
And you can find me hosting Rankin every Saturday. The topic for next week will be whatever wins the poll that we're going to put up. And you can find me hosting Late Enough Take 3. We're here tomorrow with talking about Tom Hiddleston with Kelsey Kirkland there, because why would I get anyone else?
It'd be like if we did the Tom Cruise episode and I wasn't on it. It'd just be really weird and pointless.
But with that being, you can also find me hosting Full Metal Classic, usually on Sundays. I'm taking the night off tomorrow because it's Father's Day in the States, and all that. You'll find me hosting Full Metal Random as well. The next one coming up is The Restoring, which will be at 4 p.m. Next Saturday. It was supposed to be today, but I overslept, and yes, because 4 p.m. here says 8 in the morning for me. I didn't go to bed till 1:30 in the morning my time, so I overslept, and we couldn't do it.
Malcolm, look, a wizard is never early, nor is he late. He arrives perfectly on time, or precisely when he's supposed to.
When he intends to.
All right. You know what? I've seen those movies only a handful of times. Man, give me the effort for trying, Joe.
But with that being said, just because it's the only time you're going to see this intro, because this was a special one we did for the 150th, we're going to close out with the intro again. Hey guys, and welcome to the first episode of Rankin.